Here we are at Horicon Marsh, central Wisconsin, a little after 5 o'clock in the morning. Gonna be a beautiful day outside. Super excited about this episode because this place is amazing. This is Horicon Marsh, the largest freshwater cattail marsh in the United States, with over 30,000 acres of marshland, prairies, woods, lakes, and everything in between. Get ready to join me on an epic journey as we explore one of the greatest birding destinations in the country, through the marsh to many spots and places, as we come face to face with many of the resident birds and animals, visit both visitor centers, learn about Horicon's history, travel back in time through the awesome Horicon Explorium, and much, much more. At 14 miles long and up to 8 miles wide, it truly is a nature's paradise with everything you could ask for. This is Horicon Marsh. Let's do this. Horicon Marsh is separated into two main units, with the northern two-thirds controlled by the federal government as the Horicon National Wildlife Refuge, the bottom third controlled by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources as the Horicon Marsh State Wildlife Area. Located in the upper Rock River watershed with over 300 documented species of birds, Horicon Marsh has been designated as a wetland of international importance, as well as a globally important bird area. There's so much to see and do here at Horicon, with places that take you into the marsh interior like Ledge Road, Main Dyke Road, Old Marsh Road, scenic drives like the Auto Tour, and feel like you're floating on the marsh itself at the famous boardwalk. And we're about to see it all and much more. So let's start this epic journey and head into the awesome world of Horicon Marsh. I hope you're excited, because I know I am. Let's get ready and head to our first stop of the day, the popular Ledge Road. Ledge Road is usually my first stop whenever I come to Horicon. It's on the east side of the marsh, right off of Highway Z, and you never know what to expect every time you arrive. Only about a mile or so long, but has plenty of different habitats, with some prairie and some woods leading right into marsh with large areas of open water. It's perfect habitat for many types of water birds and songbirds alike. Early spring and fall can often be the best times for many kinds of birds, but any time throughout the summer can be great as well. There are a few trails, but your best bet is often right from your car. The road goes along right next to the marsh, within just a few feet from the water and all the wildlife. Just move slowly and keep your eyes peeled to both sides of the road for just about anything. Every time you come to Ledge Road, you just never know what you're going to see. Whether you're out just to do some bird watching or trying to get great photos, Ledge Road can be a pretty amazing place. Sometimes things can be happening all around you and it can be hard to know where to look. The hustle and bustle of nature is happening in every direction, and every day seems to be different. It's easy to lose track of time and spend a good chunk of the day here at Ledge Road, as I've done many times, and we'll be coming back later on to see just how amazing it can be in the fall. But we have a lot more spots to visit. First, we'll make a quick stop at the Bud Cook hiking area before continuing on to the iconic Old Marsh Road. So let's enjoy a few more sights and sounds here at Ledge Road before we continue our journey through the rest of Horicon Marsh. One of my absolute favorite spots here at Horicon, and you never know what to expect on the awesome Ledge Road. Now that we've seen beautiful Ledge Road, let's get ready and head on to the next stop, the Bud Cook hiking area. Named after conservationist Lester Bud Cook, the Bud Cook hiking area is a beautiful 2-mile prairie trail with an observation platform that overlooks the northern part of the marsh. From the small parking lot right off of Point Road, you can take the trails through the prairie to see many types of birds and wildflowers. Many prairie birds nest here, and nesting boxes are placed all along the trail. incredible views and some pretty cool birds here at Bud Cook. So let's get ready to head to one of the most iconic spots here at Horicon, the awesome Old Marsh Road. The trail on Old Marsh Road takes you through a small stretch of woods before giving way to wide open marsh on a trail that leads all the way to the auto tour. It's the best of both worlds, as you can see many types of songbirds and more in the trees, and water birds of all kinds out in the marsh. Although the trail is closed in early spring and fall to protect migrating birds, many different species can be seen all through the summer. So grab your camera, take some water, and head down to what can sometimes be one of the most exciting trails here at Horicon Marsh. Simply awesome. The wildlife diversity here at Horicon truly is amazing. On any given day, you simply never know what you might see. So let's move on and head to the next stop, the National Visitor Center. Located on the eastern side of the marsh, the National Visitor Center is a great place to step in and learn more about the marsh, check out their displays and gift shop, and the friendly staff is always there to help. There's also an observation deck in back and trails to walk right off the main parking lot. Organizations like the Friends of Horicon Marsh and the Horicon Marsh Bird Club host many events throughout the year. The Horicon Marsh Bird Festival is in early May, and information on this and other events can be found at their websites. Horicon Marsh was formed by the Great Wisconsin Glacier over 10,000 years ago. Named after the Algonquin word Horicon, which means land of clean, pure water. It is an area rich in Native American history, but the first modern settlement was the town of Horicon, and the first settlers called it the Great Marsh of the Winnebagoes. A dam was built in 1846 to promote agriculture and lumbering and created Lake Horicon. Although property flooding led to many lawsuits from farmers and landowners, and this eventually led to the dam's removal in 1869. The water soon receded, bringing the marsh back to life as a haven for wildlife. Settlers who arrived in the mid-1800s had never seen such incredible numbers of wildlife. This brought many hunters, as the sheer numbers of ducks and shorebirds that were common at the marsh seemed infinite. Many hunting clubs arose, and ruthless, unregulated commercial hunting soon decimated the duck populations in only 25 to 30 years, and the marsh became a wasteland. Soon after, efforts to drain the marsh for muck farming also failed, and the marsh remained a wasteland, useless for both people and wildlife. Stripped of its water, its wildlife, its wetland vegetation, ditched and tilled in failed farming attempts, Horicon Marsh lay dormant, only a shadow of its former self. Then in the 1920s, fed-up conservationists stepped up to fight to save the marsh, and in 1927, the state of Wisconsin passed the Horicon Marsh Wildlife Refuge Bill, which provided land acquisition and the building of a dam to restore the marsh's water levels. Considered a Horicon hero, conservationist Louis Curley Radke led this rally and helped to convince Wisconsin to establish the Horicon Marsh State Wildlife Area, and the resilience of Mother Nature began to repair the damages and the marsh plant life started to return. Then in 1941, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service purchased the northern two-thirds of the marsh and established the Horicon National Wildlife Refuge for the conservation of migratory birds, including the redhead duck. Horicon Marsh has the highest number of nesting redheads east of the Mississippi River, and with new conservation and hunting laws in place and the help of President Franklin D. Roosevelt signing the Wildlife Restoration Act, Horicon Marsh was well on its way to becoming what it is today. One of Horicon's most popular residents, standing at 5 feet tall with a wingspan of more than 7 feet, the whooping crane is the tallest bird in North America. Declining to near extinction from unregulated hunting and habitat loss, with only about 20 birds left in the early 1940s, successful management and reintroduction programs have helped the cranes to recover to approximately 800 birds as of February in 2024. First introduced into Horicon by the International Crane Foundation back in 2011, the cranes are monitored and protected by strict guidelines to keep your distance and observe the birds respectfully. Awe-inspiring and a thrill to see in person, we can only hope that the conservation and reintroduction efforts continue to be more and more successful to bring the beautiful whooping crane back to its glory. Absolutely beautiful. But there's no time to waste. Let's head to our next stop. Let's go check out Main Dyke Road. Main Dike Road is another road that takes you deep into the heart of the marsh. Following a similar theme as many other areas here at Horicon, you simply never know what you might see on any given day. A mix of prairie, woods, and seemingly endless marsh, Main Dike Road is open year-round for hiking and biking, and a great variety of songbirds and waterbirds can be seen all throughout spring, summer, and fall. Another one of Horicon's popular residents, the sora is often heard but not seen. It is the most abundant rail species in North America, but very secretive and usually stays within the safety of the deep cattails, and it's always a treat when you're lucky enough to see one that ventured out into the open. Not necessarily colorful, but their bill is often compared to a Halloween candy corn. They forage on seeds from wetland plants, but also eat aquatic invertebrates and insects. Breeding in most of the US and Canada, the sora is a long-distance migrant with most spending the winter months in Mexico, Central, and South America, although some winter in the Southeast United States. Horicon Marsh is divided into 18 separate water management areas that can be controlled to promote plant growth and provide habitat for migratory birds. Man-made dikes constructed in the late 1950s divide the marsh into different impoundments, and water can be channeled between them to control the depth to determine which wetland plants thrive and to create deeper pools for diving ducks, mudflats for shorebirds, and to maintain desirable water levels after rainfall. Refuge biologists will often lower the water levels in the spring to allow the native seeds to grow and then flood it again in the fall to provide feeding areas for the migrating waterfowl. In an effort to mimic the wetland cycle, Horicon's water control structures allow managers to imitate or enhance the changes in marsh water levels that can occur naturally.
Pumps like this one can enable staff to channel water from one impoundment to another.
During dry conditions, sediment will consolidate and allow plants to germinate. When flooded later on in the fall, the wetland plants die and decay, nutrients get cycled, and this drives wetland productivity. Marsh managers will also use controlled burning to maintain healthy grassland ecosystems so the native plants can thrive and remove invasive species. The combination of these activities allow the marsh and its wildlife to prosper and to be enjoyed by all for generations to come. The Canada goose has a special place at Horicon Marsh. Many thousands of geese migrate through the marsh every fall, but this wasn't always the case. The local geese that breed at the marsh, called the giant Canada goose, was even thought to be extinct at one point. After the marsh was restored and the state wildlife area and the National Wildlife Refuge were established, the first flocks of migrating geese from what is known as the Mississippi Valley population started showing up in the late 1940s. The marsh has since become an important staging area for these geese on their long journey to and from their breeding grounds way up in Canada near Hudson Bay. Marsh management and cooperation from the Wisconsin DNR, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Canadian government have helped to bring the Mississippi Valley population up to incredible numbers. An estimated number of as many as 200,000 geese stop at the marsh each fall. And thanks to restoration efforts, the local breeding population is also thriving. Much more can be learned about the history of these geese and all the management efforts at the Wisconsin DNR website. Now that's a lot of geese. But let's continue our journey and head to the town of Horicon to see the awesome State Education and Visitor Center and the famous Horicon Explorium. Welcome to the Horicon Marsh Explorium, where you can step back in time and learn how the marsh was formed by glaciers thousands of years ago. See the ancient animals, learn about the early tribes and how they hunted for their food, meet the first settlers, and so much more. There's plenty of interactive displays and exhibits. You'll see the timeline of all the important events in the history of the marsh and how it came to be what it is today. Learn about all the different habitats, and you can even see what it would feel like to be a small animal living in the marsh itself. more exhibits to come face to face with many of the marsh's resident ducks and waterbirds, learn their calls and how they forage for their food. Then take a video ride on a marsh airboat, the vehicle that marsh managers use for a variety of tasks to help maintain the marsh. And don't forget to leave with a picture. A must-see during any visit to the marsh, the Horicon Explorium is an experience you do not want to miss. Wow, that education center was a lot of fun and super cool. But let's do some more exploring and work our way to one of the biggest attractions here at Horicon Marsh, the Turnpike Auto Tour and the famous Horicon Boardwalk. Headed to the Horicon Auto Tour takes you along Highway 49, which is an extremely popular stretch to see many types of waterbirds on the northern part of the marsh. There's plenty of room to pull over and observe, just remember to use caution as it is a state highway and can often have heavy traffic at high speeds. With multiple impoundments on both sides of the road and wide open marsh as far as the eyes can see, it's a great spot to see just about anything at any given time. Turnpike Auto Tour is one of the busier places here at Horicon Marsh, visited by birders, bikers, walkers, and joggers alike. Just under 3 miles long, it takes you through prairie, marsh, and small stretches of woods with trails, and you never know what you will encounter on any given day. You can slowly drive it or park in the parking lot and take a walk. Information boards are scattered along the tour where you can learn about the marsh, its habitat, its wildlife, and more. And halfway through the tour is where you'll find the parking lot for the famous boardwalk. The famous Horicon Boardwalk needs no introduction. Sit back and enjoy. part of the auto tour goes through more marsh and prairies where you can often see sandhill cranes and more. Early summer, you can sometimes see the cranes feeding their young, which are called colts. Sandhills are quite common at Horicon, and during the fall season they can gather by the hundreds in the marsh itself and in nearby farm fields, which we'll see later on, and can be quite the spectacle. Once quite rare in Wisconsin, in recent years the black-necked stilt has become a regular summer resident at the marsh. Somewhat easy to spot with their long, pink legs, black and white plumage, they like to forage for small aquatic prey out in the mudflats and shallow pools of the marsh. Greater yellowlegs can often be seen migrating through the marsh in early spring on the way to their breeding grounds up in Canada, and again in the fall on the way back to their wintering grounds in Mexico and South America. As we near the end of our visit to Horicon, we're going to revisit a few places to show just how amazing the marsh can be during the fall migration, and then we'll wrap up our journey at the Marsh Haven Nature Center. The fall season at Horicon can be pretty amazing, as spectacular numbers of migrating ducks and shorebirds pass through the marsh. can be a pretty special time here at Horicon. So let's head back to Highway 49 and hit our last stop of the day, the Marsh Haven Nature Center. Located on the north end of Horicon Marsh near the Auto Tour, the Marsh Haven Nature Center is a non-profit organization where you can learn about the marsh's history and wildlife, the early settlers of the area, and so much more. You can walk through their amazing exhibits and displays and wander through their 46 acres of hiking trails. Founded in 1984, the organization offers many nature education programs, and they have plenty of family-friendly special events throughout the year. So check their website for information. Looks like another incredible season's about to come to a close here at Horicon. But soon it'll be spring again, the migrating birds will be passing through, the marsh plant life will be growing, and the entire cycle will start all over again. It truly is an amazing place. Maybe one day you'll come and see it for yourself, and hopefully it'll mean as much to you as it does to me. So long, Horicon. Until next time.